morning. We're about to do tea and tarot. Every other 2 weeks, I go to the cards to find out about the energies that we can expect, what's coming, what's happening. So grab a tea or coffee and we'll get started shortly. So welcome to those who are new and those who are returning. Every 2 weeks I go to the cards to find out what's happening up on planet Earth in our lives, themes that are coming, themes of things that have been. And it's very much an intuitive smorgasbord. I usually have about 20 to 30 cards here and I just kind of go to the ones that pop up. So we'll jump in and see what's happening. All right, so I feel like I need to start with the Universal Love deck, which is this deck with the trees on it. Actually, I've got the cover here. It's one of my favorites. Those of you who have been coming here for a while know this. It's a great deck. Actually, I got lost one time when I was in England. I was just sort of wandering around and at the base of the Tor, which is one of the sacred hills in Glastonbury, and I saw a tree that looked exactly like this, and it had the heart on the tree. It was really neat. So, okay, let's see what we've got here. Okay, so the card I pulled is the card of listening. Okay, and this is about listening to our inner selves, but I feel like with this card in particular, it's about listening to spirit. So some of you might be beginning to open up to your intuition or asking questions. How can I better tune into spirit? How can I better have that direct communication? And really, it's not super complicated. People think, oh gosh, I have to take these courses and have these attunements and open up my third eye and do all of this stuff. In truth, we're already very intuitive. It's just the way we receive information is different for each of us. Some of us will have a more of a visual experience. Some of us will hear things or just know things or feel things in the body. So the first place to start is to figure out what is your way. How do you know what's going on? What is your strongest way? And usually your strongest way in how you deal with your five senses, like if you're a visual person and if that's how you experience your world, then chances are intuitively you'll be more visual. If you need to do things to understand them and you're very hands-on, then chances are you'll probably feel things in your body or have that tactile experience when you're receiving intuitive information. So this card is about us listening, and you can't hear the voice of spirit or the energy of spirit if you're surrounded by noise all the time. Background noise, mental noise. So it's really hard. The world we live in is a busy, active world. It's just the soup we're always in. So it's really hard to tune in and listen and hear that voice of spirit in your home or in your environment. So that's why I'm always, almost every 2 weeks, I'm like, get inside, get in the woods, go be by water, lay on the grass in your yard. Good morning, Lori. And so the listening, the first part of the listening is to get into a place where you have silence, where you have nothing. And that sounds easy, but it is difficult because there is so much sort of physical noise and energetic noise in our environment. So that's the first step, is to find a place where you can just be quiet and just have that space. So you're not thinking about things you need to do, you're not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday, your to-do list is put to the side and you're taking that time just for yourself, just to kind of get into that space of silence. And meditation is a wonderful way to train your brain to allow yourself to have that space. Meditation and intuition, training for intuition go hand in hand. So for those of you wanting to strengthen your connection with spirit, meditation is a key part of that. Okay, it is very much like working out a muscle in the gym. Your third eye, your intuition, it is something that needs regular maintenance and regular working out. And meditation is just one way to do that. So when you have that silence, then you're able to listen and you're able to hear. And when intuition comes, it doesn't always come, wrapped up with a bow and make sense. Like, it's not like you hear the voice of God say, today you're going to get up and do this, this, and this will happen. It's more like having little breadcrumbs that you're following, sometimes things that pop in that don't make sense. So I also advise everyone, it's really great to just start journaling that stuff, those little things that don't make sense, because it's like putting a puzzle together. You're gathering the pieces up, or you're gathering those breadcrumbs up, and then when you have a few of the pieces, things will start to make more sense. Okay, so the first card that came up for those who just joined was about listening, not just to yourself, but specifically to spirit, how to deepen your connection with spirit and with your intuition. And as always, for those who are jumping on at different times in this session, you can grab the replay later on Instagram or on my website, circleoflightwellness.com. It's under Tea and Tarot, and any past episodes too, because even though we're looking at the next 2 weeks, some of the past episodes are still relevant to now, because there's some themes and things that come up that are timeless. So you can get a lot from going to past episodes as well, just using your intuition to kind of like grab which one, just like I use my intuition to grab which card. All right, so now we're going to go to the Work Your Light cards, which is a beautiful deck. And also too, on Wednesdays on my Instagram, I've started going to different decks every Wednesday where you can pick one of 3 cards or all 3 cards for a message, but it's also just a way for everyone to see inside some of these decks, because there's so many beautiful oracle card and tarot card decks out there right now. It's impossible to feature them all, but again, this card is about divine guidance. So spirit is really wanting to connect to us right now, really wanting to dialogue with us right now. So doing whatever you can to facilitate that. And that might mean you maybe if you're super busy, you need to take some time off. Or maybe you're a busy mom and your kids are all over the place, and you need to just get them quiet for that half an hour where you can just tune in. And it doesn't have to be just sitting in meditation. It can be going for a walk. Going for a walk in the woods is a really great place to connect, gives your body something to do, and your mind can just open and you can start to receive. But we are very much being asked by Spirit to pay attention, because our guides and angels are trying to communicate with us right now. So for those of you who have been struggling with choices or anything in life, the energy I feel has been all over the place. It's really wonderful that things are starting to open up in our part in Ontario and we're getting back to life. But what does that mean? It's not necessarily going to be the way that it was before, and it's new. And whenever we go into something new or something unknown, there can be excitement and this joy, but there can also be a bit of apprehension and a little bit of fear, or like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself kind of energy. So Spirit's saying, we don't have to do this alone. They are there helping us along, but we do need to listen, okay? Because we can't accept that help if we're closed off to it. It would be like going to a friend and saying, I really need advice in my life right now with this, this, and this, and then you put earmuffs on as they're talking to you and giving you the advice, and they'd be like, what? Why are you listening? So Spirit's asking us to listen. And this can also be listening to other people in your life too, because Spirit will use people around you to get messages to you, okay? So if, lots of different creative ways that they communicate, maybe just through a song on the radio, or through something that someone else says. We are all connected. It might just be getting a message from somebody out of the blue that you haven't heard from for a really long time, and maybe they have something important for you. So just being open to that, being open to the wonderful ways that Spirit uses to connect with us. So I'm going to a deck of cards called the Monology cards, and it's a bunch of different moon cycles in these cards. Really interesting. And I'm just going to a random one. And it won't be the moon cycle we're in right now, but we'll see what message it has for us. We're actually coming into Cancer new moon on Friday, which I'm excited about because it's my sign. This is my birthday month. Yay me! I'm not happy about getting older so much, but I like birthdays. And I love summer, so I'm super excited. Okay, so we pulled a card, new moon in Sagittarius, but it's about luck being on our side. So finally, things are going to start going our way, you guys. So if you feel like you've been beating your head against the wall, or you've been trying to start things and they're just not happening, or you can feel something coming in your life with your intuition, and it feels like it was really close, but it's taking forever for you to get there, don't lose faith, don't lose hope. Luck is on our side. This is a great time to start maybe not throwing all your energy into a new endeavor, but start thinking about those things. Like, what is it you want to do? I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. Like, we are in a world where there's so much choice, and sometimes there's too much choice, and it can be really, really overwhelming. And I am a creative person, and I have a busy, active mind, and sometimes I get overloaded and overwhelmed with all this stuff rolling around in my head. So this is what I love to do, and maybe some of you will find this helps, is do a brain dump. Is just write it all out, write everything that's in my head, get it out on paper so that I don't have to worry about forgetting things or any of that. And it's all out on paper, and then I can kind of cherry pick the things that I want to work on or the things that I want to think about, but it's written down, I have it recorded, I feel more peaceful about that. So whether you dictate that into your phone or you're crazy writing it down in a journal, but if you have a lot going on and you feel overwhelmed, find a way to let it go. So that's a way to mentally let stuff go. You can also just get really physically active, like get your heart rate up there. That will blow a lot of junk out of your energy field too. And then smudging, salt baths, all that stuff. But it's great to get your energy in a clear place before you start listening, because that will also help your connection with spirit as well. So luck is on our side. Energy is going to be in our favor. So that's good news. And as we move into the new moon in Cancer, usually Cancer themes are all about family and, your home, your environment, how that feels for you, how your body feels, because this is also your home and your environment too, right? So paying attention to that. That's really interesting. Somebody just made a comment that they've been waking up tired, all sorts of random dreams. And that's been happening to a lot of people lately. Like, we haven't been sleeping great for the last week, and we've been having really weird dreams, maybe from your past. And you're like, why am I dreaming this stuff from 30 years ago? But it's because think of it as clearing out clutter, okay? It's like we're energetically clearing out clutter and making that space. And sometimes when we clear something out in our house, like a closet or a room, and we're all excited about it, we make a bigger mess before it gets better. I know this when I rip apart my closet, I throw everything on my bed, and then it looks worse, right, for the first little bit, and then it gets better, then it gets tidied. So it's like that as we're releasing this energetic clutter, it might look like, oh my God, there's so many things, and they're keeping me up at night. But this will pass. This is moving through. So just allow it to happen. But the energy has been, when I say bonky, it's because it's been high frequency and then dipping and like kind of roller coastery for the last 2 weeks for me anyway. And so I have had weird dreams as well, and my sleep hasn't been perfect. And that's when I feel like I really need to be sort of solid in my self-care in terms of trying to get enough sleep and getting enough movement in my day, and, trying to choose foods that aren't going to keep me really hyper in the evening. That kind of stuff helps, but it is an energy thing. So you're not all crazy. For those who've been experiencing that, it's going around. So, but that last card we pulled for those who just joined was a card that luck is on our side for things coming. So things are looking up. And I felt drawn to go to the fairy deck next. So I'm just pulling a card from the Oracle of the fairy deck. Shine from within. Okay. And I feel like this is about shining our light and letting other people see it, which is always a good thing. And I'm always saying, let your light shine, don't dim it for anyone else. But I really feel like this is connected to your really deep stuff that you keep hidden. That you don't maybe share with other people, that there's all parts of ourselves that we kind of keep to ourselves because we don't want to be judged or, we, for whatever reason. But this is about bringing light to all of those things inside of yourself, even the things that maybe you don't think you're good at or you're not proud of, or things that you're healing. And this card is saying it's safe for you to look at those things. It's safe for you to bring them to the surface. It's safe for you to shine some light on them. It's safe for you to share those things with other people. So it's like about being a bit vulnerable, and maybe in your relationships, maybe, you're guarded, you've been guarded, and Spirit's saying it's okay to open up a little bit here. It's okay to be a little bit vulnerable or a little bit open and share your experiences with other people, because ultimately that really helps them. Okay, we're not all living the same life on the planet. We all have our own unique challenges, our own unique things that we're working on with regards to ourselves. We have our own past. But when we share our journey with other people, even the hard bits, it really helps us all feel connected, because we are all kind of connected in our struggling on the planet. You know, just like we're connected in our love and in our joy as well. And even though our struggles are different, it still helps to hear, oh, somebody overcame something, you know, that gives you hope. I remember when I found out I was pregnant with twins, and I had like a 13-month-old at the time, and I knew they were going to be like 21 months apart. I was freaking out. And so I went to a twin club in Burlington, and I met some of the other moms who had their babies and come out the other side, and their heads were still on their bodies, and they seemed okay. And I thought, okay, I can do this. But it really helped me to see and connect with people who had gone through the journey that I was about to embark on, that sort of terrified me. So this is important too with whatever you're trying to achieve in your life, or whatever you're trying to move through. Sharing your journey with other people can help them feel better about where they're beginning, and also the same, you finding someone who's been where you're trying to go, okay? And this happens, we go through these cycles through life all of the time, but shining light on the things that we wouldn't necessarily share with someone. Spirit saying it's okay to open up, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to share some of your story, because it can be really inspirational to someone else, even though you might not see it that way. So I understand what it's like to be private. I'm a private person with a lot of things in my life, and so I don't always like share my stuff, because I feel like people have their own stuff. They don't need to hear about my stuff. But I find that when I do that people are like, oh, I'm feeling that too, or I'm experiencing that too. So it really does bring us together, sharing our vulnerability. It doesn't mean you go out in the grocery line, you're telling everyone your problems all day long. It's not about complaining. It's just about being okay to shine a light on that inner stuff, and also sharing it as well. Okay, because when we're not, especially if any of you have been feeling depressed or anxious or really struggling right now, there's a tendency to hermit and push people out. And I do this too. Like, I'm great for the hermit. I mean, I'm Cancer sign, I'm a crab. We go in our shell and we're locked down, right? There's no getting in. But it's not always the healthiest thing, because sometimes by reaching out, at least to one friend, it can help you get through it a lot faster than if you hermit and you just sort of stew in your, sadness or anger, or whatever it is. So let's all try to connect with each other in a deeper way and help each other out. So find someone maybe in your life that you think that you could help by talking to them and sharing your story, and then finding somebody's story that can help propel you to the future of where you want to go. Okay, so let's just kind of look for that for the next 2 weeks. But Spirit's saying not to discount our journey, because it's really important, and also sharing it's really important. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Goddess Power deck. Colette Baron Reed, it's also a really good one. And I don't know about you guys with your decks, but I kind of go through phases with mine, where some I sort of shelve for a few months, and then I'm like, oh, this deck. And then it's like a brand new deck. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, actually, the very first tarot deck I had when I was in high school. I just did not resonate with it at all. I never used it, and so then I just wrote off tarot, and it wasn't until I found a deck that I really loved and got excited about that I got excited about tarot again. So sometimes it's the deck, and there's so many out there. So, okay. I pulled the Death and Magic card, which is interesting because I've been feeling this energy lately. And for me, usually like the death theme or that energy is a fall thing. As the leaves are dying and everything's shutting down and getting ready for winter, it's that cycle of death and rebirth. And fall and winter usually is the time. And we're in the fullness of summer. It's all about new stuff and enjoying joy. But I've been feeling like the death energy lately, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people are dying, but it can mean that. But it usually is about a renewal. So the death is things in your life that just don't fit anymore. Whether it's clothes you've been keeping in your closet, relationships you've been hanging on to, old ways of being that don't serve you. Maybe you're trying to make a change in your life with your habits, or your lifestyle, and you keep getting pulled back to your past. So those old things might need to die, fully die, until you can start that new beginning. So we're always in phases of letting go and reaching for the new. That never changes. But lately I've been feeling it strongly, this feeling of the death cycle, of it really being time to let some things go, because sometimes those things we hang on to, they can make us feel safe, but they can also keep us trapped in an energy that no longer serves us. So it is scary to make change. It is scary to let things go sometimes, but anything that's meant to stay with us, you know, whether it's a thing or a relationship, it will stay. Like, you know, if anyone's meant to be in our life, they will be there. But we need to kind of let go of some of the fear around change and around letting those things complete and end. You know, I like beginnings better than endings. I like the feeling of them. They feel wonderful. Endings are never fun. I mean, just think of relationships, right? When you meet someone, you fall in love, and that's that excitement, that wonderful energy, and then when you break up, it's not so good. Like, who likes that? It's horrible. So the beginnings always feel better than the deaths, but this card is asking us to really look at the things in our life that we need to complete, let go of, allow them to kind of cycle through, allow that death of the thing to be the fertilizer for the new things you're bringing in. All right, because that's what happens in life. When something dies or decomposes, goes into the earth, and then it becomes the nutrients for that new life. So use the experiences you've had in the past, all the things you need to let go of. All of those things are wonderful that you've experienced. There's no bad experience. All of these things bring wisdom into your life. So allow them to fertilize your future. Okay, so take what you need from them, bring that to your future, leave the rest behind. Leave the heavy stuff that's not serving you behind. All right? Because we are being really, I feel like we're being getting ready for something, especially with these cards that I've been pulling. I feel like Spirit is guiding us along. There are times in your life where you're at the helm and you're very much guiding your progress and the timing. And then sometimes in our lives, it's Spirit takes over. And no matter what we do, we're kind of being picked up and moved around the chessboard of life, or, you know, it's a timing thing. And I feel like right now, Spirit is very much there with us, guiding the process. So for those of you who have felt pretty stuck, or like everything you're trying isn't working, just have some trust and faith there, because we are really being guided by Spirit right now. So where you're going to end up will be the right place, and it will be the right timing. And I know it's hard to kind of trust in that when you can't see the full future timeline, but we are being asked to collectively trust in that. And even with what's going on with, we can look at the big picture of the whole COVID thing, like that's a big question mark. Like, things do seem better, things are opening up, but you know, everybody's still releasing their fear, and we're still kind of in transit with that. So Spirit's also saying with that, like, we've got it covered, just give it to us, kind of thing. Okay, so I went to the Divine Guidance deck, which is a fractal deck, different images, and this is the one that I pulled. And I'm really being drawn to sort of these smaller, it's almost like petals of a flower. And I feel like when a flower opens up and you have those outer petals and then the inner petals, I feel like like we're being asked to look at not just the big things, but the little things as well. So yes, the big picture, but the small little things that maybe seem inconsequential are going to end up being the big things. Okay, so it could be a really small thing like your habits, like the foods you choose or your routine. That might seem like a really small, what's the big deal about that thing? But Spirit's saying that could end up being a really big thing. So we're to pay attention to the little things in our lives and the little things we're doing. It might just be smiling at somebody that you don't know, and that might totally alter their day. It could be like a tiny act of kindness, paying something forward. And just so you never underestimate the power of your presence in someone's life, or what you do or what you say. It can totally change a life. People don't always like find a way to contact you and say, oh, you changed my life on that day. You know, you might never know. You might think you're out there in the world and it doesn't matter what you do or say and people don't care and you're alone and all of that. I know everybody struggles with that in varying degrees, but you're important. You're really important, especially the little things that you do. So don't forget that, okay? It's, Spirit really wants us to pay attention to that right now. It's the tiny little things. It's the tiny little daily things that are important, especially in connection to one another. All right, so let's go to, okay, I don't always bring this deck out, but I've got the Romance Angels, so some of you must be ready for love or have questions about relationships. I know relationships have been, well, they're always a thing, but this last year hasn't really helped them. But then it has. I think some people have gotten a lot closer from being quarantined, but some people not so much. Okay, so again, having faith. For those of you who are looking for love and are really frustrated and like, where is it? I hate saying, oh, just wait and trust, because you're like, I am waiting and trusting. But it's very much like asking you to have faith right now. So this is what I tell people when they're looking for love and it's not happening and they're getting frustrated and impatient. Focus on yourself. Do stuff that you love. Get into your joy. Really get to know yourself better, love yourself better. You'll be so busy doing that, this other person will come in and it will be perfect, rather than you sitting around waiting for the thing. Just get on with life and live it and enjoy it. You'll probably bump into your person while you're out there loving what you're doing. How perfect is that? Okay? So stop waiting and just start living your life. They will come. That's what I'm getting. Okay, so now we're going to the Starseed Oracle. Your life is a canvas picture. Okay. And this card is very much about reminding us that we do create our reality to a large degree. Okay, yes, there is the influence of spirit and there's divine right timing, but we are the architect of our reality. What we want to do, what we want to achieve, who we want to be. These are things that start as thoughts in our mind before they become actions and become anchored in our reality. So this is a reminder to remind us where things begin, which is really in the feeling and thought realm. Okay, that's where we have those first inklings of creativity. And then if it's strong enough, then we take the steps forward to sorry, I'm losing my voice here, just hang on, to bring it into our reality. Everything in your life that you have, every physical thing, if you look around your surroundings, all this stuff was designed or created by somebody in their mind first and then written down, maybe made into a picture before it was actually created in three-dimensional reality. Okay, except for nature, like all the plants and rocks out there, this stuff was created by thoughts. So also everything in your life in terms of where you are in your life, the people in your life, your job, your stuff, your people, places, things, all that stuff, your car, those are choices you made. Or they were made for you. But this card is reminding us that we are very much the creator in our lives. Yes, people can create things for us and we could be living somebody else's creation. But this is reminding us to take our power back and recognize that we choose. Boy, my throat chakra. We choose. I had a teacher once say to me, if you don't create your life, someone else is going to create it for you. So you'll either be living the life you want or you'll be living somebody else's life for them or their version of what they want for you, which can happen a lot. When you're young and your parents want certain things for you and you don't want to disappoint them, so you kind of do what they want you to do, whether it's what you're taking at school or career or relationships or whatever. But there comes a time in your life where you have to choose for yourself on a soul level, and also too what you're passionate about and what you love. You have to make those choices that are for you, because this is your life. And yes, you might be responsible for other people. You might be a mother, sister, brother, father, yes, you might have other people in your life that rely on you and depend on you, and you are living your life a little bit for them, but ultimately you do have to answer to yourself, okay? It takes a lot of work to get here. You know, you grew for 10 months in somebody else's body, and then you made it here. They obviously took good enough care of you that you're still alive, you're still breathing, and coming into adulthood. So don't forget about the magic of that, you guys. Like, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of, what's the word? Choice. Like, this is your choice. And Spirit's reminding us, like, we create our canvas of our life. Like, we are the painter. Whether you choose to paint or hand the paintbrush to someone else or just piece out and just stare at a blank canvas, those are all choices you make, okay? We're more in control than we think. So even if you feel like life's happening to you, a lot of it is your participation. So yes, there's a time to just sit and coast and let Spirit guide us, but they do require our co-participation. We do need to help paint the picture. Otherwise, we just end up in somebody else's painting, which might be okay with you. But for me, I'm always like, I want the paintbrush in my hand. So, all right. So just remembering that you create your reality. And that is I don't think that's really a new concept now. Like, in the last 20 years, that's been kind of, you know, with movies like The Secret and all that stuff that came out years ago, talking about how our mind creates our reality, or our thoughts create our reality. And it really does. And it does affect our biology too. And I feel like in a few more years, we're going to have more studies that show how our mind does affect our physical body to a large degree. Our cells, our organs, our systems, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. So I just pulled from the Native Spirit deck, which is a really beautiful deck. I pulled the Spirit of Fire card. And fire is all about creation. It can be about destruction. Fire can absolutely, like, completely tear things down to the base level, but it's a power of creativity as well. So we're being asked to use this energy right now, and this goes into all of the themes we've talked about so far. When I was talking about letting things go, like letting things die, you can use the energy of fire to help you let stuff go. As the fire energy is very strong, but it's very thorough. And sometimes even in my physical body, when I feel things are stuck in my physical body and I'm doing energy work and there might be an area where it's like, this energy's just so stuck, I will use fire, because fire will come in and just clear it right out. But I always follow it with water. If you're gonna burn away stuff, always sort of flush it out with water after, is a good practice. But fire is very complete in removing something from your life or helping you release something from your life. And one of the things that I love to do the most, especially this time of year because it's easy, is have a sacred fire. So if you can have a fire in your yard or at a campground, or even a friend of mine uses a roasting pan, we call it the sacred roasting pan, and have a sacred fire, and you can even write down on paper what you want to release and throw that into the fire. And it's a very simple but powerful thing to do and very effective. So if you've been struggling or feel really stuck, you might want to use the energy of fire to help clear out any of the old stuff, and to also help bring that creativity, that creative energy and that creativity forward, so that you can start moving into the life you want or the future you want for yourself. Sound good? All right, let's go to this deck. The Sacred Destiny? Sacred Destiny, yeah. So many decks. Like, what is this one? Sacred Destiny Oracle. The Miracle card. Oh, I love miracles, rainbows, all that good stuff. So, I was at a talk years ago, and this native elder was speaking, and he said, I don't believe in miracles, I expect them. And I thought, that's a cocky thing to say. Like, what? But he went on to explain that he lives his life every day in the present moment like it's a miracle. Like, he doesn't worry that things aren't going to come his way. He expects Spirit to help him work everything out. He expects that miracle. He expects that magic. And because he starts his day expecting that, his whole day is magical. He's open to it. He's open to receive it. He's looking for it. And I thought, oh, interesting. So he wasn't saying like, oh, I just expect miracles because I'm so awesome. He was like, no, I expect miracles because the world is a magical place and they're happening all the time. It's just we don't realize it because we're not in that headspace. So pulling this card, I feel like Spirit's reminding us, like, we're miraculous. Like, how are we even living and breathing right now? Like, this whole body is magical if you really think about it. Not to mention all the wild stuff out there in the world. Like, imagine if you were just thrown onto Earth and you knew nothing about Earth. You'd get so excited just seeing the sun come up in the morning. You'd be like, how is that even happening? You know, we are surrounded by miracles, but we're just sort of, it's like we've become accustomed to them. So we don't remember how amazing they are anymore. So I encourage you to adopt that attitude. You know, maybe tomorrow morning, wake up and be like, okay, everything's going to be miraculous today. Everything's going to be in the flow and synchronistic, and the things that I need will come to me, and the people I need to talk to will come to me, and it's all just going to flow and be perfect. And just expect that and see how your day shifts. Okay, it's really a beautiful way to live, really. And what he was basically saying when he said he didn't believe in miracles, he expected them. He was basically saying, I trust in Spirit so much. I trust in Spirit, and I trust in the synchronicity of the world so much that I know I'm taken care of out there. I know that everything I need will come to me. And it's really interesting. I spent a summer in South America, and you know, in South America, they might have a couple of chickens that lay eggs that, you know, they have the eggs every morning for breakfast. But if you visit them, like some of the families, if you go there and visit, they will kill that chicken to make a chicken dinner for you because you are their guest. But then they're not thinking about, well, where will the eggs come tomorrow morning? Because they just know it will work out. And that's kind of, for me, like living in North America, a crazy way to live. Because I was raised sort of like, you have money in the bank and you make sure you can pay your bills and you make sure there's food in your fridge, and, you know, rather than this trust like, well, I'm just floating through life and hopefully things will work out. But I find that's a difference in South America and North America. South America seems to have that kind of flow and that trust down a little bit more than we do, but it doesn't mean that we can't practice it. All right, so I have gone to this Animal Spirit deck by Colette Baron Reed and pulled the Hummingbird Spirit, which is so perfect for July because Hummingbird is all about summer and, you know, creativity and that soaking up the joy, like the nectar from the flower, like just filling yourself up with the sun, filling yourself up with the warmth and the joy and the happiness and all of those things that summer represent. And also allowing yourself to just sort of jump in and roll around that creative energy. And when I say creative energy, it doesn't mean you have to become an artist, but it's like whatever you're creating. And it could just be creating a plan for your life. You know, it could be creating like a financial plan for your life. It could be creating an actual building to live in. It could just be creating a routine that you want to follow. So it's very much, we're in that energy right now, that energy of joy and creativity. And also the hummingbird can sometimes be a little bit underestimated because it's a very tiny bird. But I have seen a hummingbird take on a hawk. Like, they're so fast and so agile, they can get where they need to go very quickly, even though they're a very small bird. So even if you feel you're just one person and you're trying to do something really big, hummingbird energy and spirit is saying, keep going, keep taking those steps forward. You can do this, even though you might feel small or one person in a vast sea of people. You're important. What you're doing is important, and your energy is needed. So never think that your size or that that is going to have any impact. It's not. Hummingbird is asking us to really understand our true power here, even if we're not a giant like eagle. Okay, so hummingbird. Also too, flowers coming up here for some of you, maybe flower remedies. You might want to look into that to help you through some things, or having flower baths. It's really wonderful to get some flowers from your garden, bring them into your home, have bouquets of flowers, and then also too, take some of those flowers and put them in your bath. There's something really wonderful and soothing and loving having a flower bath. So I encourage you to try that if you have not. All right, I feel like drawn to this one here, which is the Enchanted Map Oracle. Sort of jumped out at us. So, gosh, this always goes so fast. It's almost an hour, and I'm like, I always feel like it just goes by so quickly. So I was just looking at the time there. I'm like, how did that even happen? Okay. Spark. Well, I guess like it's like spirits like trying to get us a message, and it's like hammering it over our head now. I feel with this spark. We were talking about creativity but also finding that spark of joy. So I feel like this past year for some of us has been like one long winter. For those of you, I don't know, I used to love the Game of Thrones. It was like winter's coming. I feel like with COVID and everything, we've almost had like a 2-year winter cycle. And now we're kind of waking up and we're like, oh, is new exciting things? Is it going to be okay? And so it's that spark of life, or that spark of creativity, or that spark of joy. You know, maybe we haven't had that in a while. So this is asking us to find our spark. Find what lights you up, because a spark is something that you use to sort of start a fire, start a little flame going. So what in your life helps spark you up into that momentum, or in that movement when you're not feeling it? Because sometimes we're just not feeling it. We're tired. We've had enough. But what is it? What is that one small thing you can do for yourself that's going to help spark you up to get that flame going? And then once that flame is going, you can keep that lit. So this is about starting those first tiny little things, those baby steps that are going to get you moving in the direction you want to go in, so that you can build up momentum. Okay, so you don't get bogged down in the big picture of what you're trying to create in your life, or what you're trying to do in your life right now. Just start with something really small that you know you can complete, and then on to the next thing, and on to the next thing. And that will spark that energy, that will help you shift out of whatever space you're in to a new higher space, and it will create that flame and that fire. And then once that's going, that's easier to maintain. It's the getting it going is the hard part. And like, let's say for exercise, for example, we all know once you're in the flow of exercising every day, your body knows what to do. You're just in the flow and you do it. But if you ever have to stop for whatever reason, like illness, surgery, or whatever reason, and then you get out of that zone to go back into it, the first 2 weeks are horrible. So we all know what that's like. So this is about getting that spark going in whatever capacity, and once it's going, then it will definitely take off. All right, so moving on to the next cards. I feel like I'm going to the Ask Your Angel cards here. And then we'll, okay. Divine Teachers. And the card of Balance. Honestly, I don't know if balance is ever truly possible. I know that I'm always trying to find it in my own life, and I think it's something that a lot of us strive for, but in all honesty, I don't know if balance is actually ever possible. Perfect balance, I think to have balance in one part of our life, another part of our life becomes unbalanced. I don't know if it's possible to be perfectly balanced across the board in all realms. Maybe it is, and I just have never experienced it. But for me, life is a series of constant, like, trying to find that balance, or being close to that balance in all things. And our also divine teachers at the bottom here, I think we're being, again, Spirit saying to us, we're with you, we have you, we're available to you. Use us, listen to us, connect to us. Spirit is trying to help us, especially with that balance. So maybe there is something in your life that you've been trying to tackle, that you're just struggling with and really having a hard time, and Spirit saying, you know what, delegate that to us. Ask us for help. Send up a prayer to your guides, to your angels. Just, ask for help. and then watch things shift and change once you do that. Because we don't have to do everything ourselves. I know sometimes it feels that way, like we're alone here and we're just slogging away. But Spirit's reminding us that they're there for us. We can ask them for help. They're on standby. So, all right, let's do one more deck and then we'll do the angel card deck. So I am being drawn to this deck here, which is the Spellcasting Oracle, which I really like. This one too. Actually, I haven't met very many decks that I haven't liked, to be honest. But this one surprised me because Spellcasting Oracle, like I was just like, I don't know if that's my jam, and I really love this card. Animals. So we have animals in our lives. A lot of us do with our pets, and then we have like our wild animals that we encounter, and then we have our animal spirits as well. But this card is coming up, and I feel this has to do with our physical animals or our pets, connecting to them in a deeper way, and also connecting to maybe the animals that are in your environment, like in your yard, and just watch them. That could be a wonderful meditation. Just go outside for half an hour with your tea or your coffee and just sit and just choose an animal and just watch this animal. Watch what it does. Watch how it does it. It's really interesting when you spend time just observing animals. I remember when I was in Peru once and I had done a ceremony and I had to kind of stay near the washroom all day. So I couldn't really do a lot. So I just sat there basically and watched chickens all day. And I don't know, I didn't really think chickens were overly intelligent creatures. Like I thought, you know, they were kind of smart, but I had no idea how smart and playful they were. I watched them play tag with string for hours. So this one chicken had the string and all the other chickens were chasing it to try and get the string, and then they kind of got tired of that and sort of gave up and stopped chasing the chicken because they were like, heck with that, we're never getting the string. And then the chicken with the string sort of wasn't on high alert anymore and kind of like got a little lazy with protecting it, and then another chicken grabbed it, and then the whole game started again. And this went on for hours. And I was just like, wow, chickens are funny. Like, so I had no idea until I sat and watched chickens. Now, you might not have an entire day to sit and watch chickens, but just observe the animals in your environment and what they're doing, because sometimes they do bring messages to us and really bring us a lot of information and energy about what's happening in our own lives. Lately, I've had a little chipmunk up at my trailer, and he's just so cute, like the way he eats the little nuts and he'll eat the little strawberry ends and stuff, and it just makes me happy watching him. So it might just be finding that joy by watching an animal, or maybe you have birds that are nesting near you, but definitely take some time connecting to your animals. It might be connecting to your physical animals, connecting to the animals in your surroundings, or even for those of you who have done some journeying, it might be a message for you to journey and connect to your power animals. And that's something I also teach. I do workshops in that. If you're interested in that, you can check that out on my website. But that's really powerful too, connecting to your spirit animals. They can bring us a lot of wisdom and a lot of healing and really help us through some of the crazy times we've been going through. So this is about the animals. These are they are our spirit guides too. The animals are on the earth here to help us, and we don't always recognize that, but when we do, it becomes a really powerful relationship for them and for us. All right, so we're gonna go to wrap it up with angel wing cards that I pull every week. 1 gold, 1 silver, and then 2 circles. So, okay. There we go. All right, so learn the medicinal power of plants. Ooh, yes, please do that. I love plants. You know, and you might want to take my practical intuition workshop, the recorded one I have about starting to work with the plants in your backyard, just weeds. I focused on ones that you could find in your yard for free. We are surrounded by medicine plants. It's amazing, like in North America, South America, everywhere. But even just in your backyard, I bet you could find 10 plants that are amazing that you don't even know that you're putting in your weed bin all of the time. All right, time for creativity and transformation is this card here. So that's a shocker. I'm just being sarcastic. After today, I feel like Spirit's like, get creative. It's time to transform. It's time to shift things. The key is summer for joy and abundance. Well, we are in it. We are in the summer. We are in the energy of joy and abundance. Very much hummingbird energy, that energy of joy, creativity, abundance. So soak it up. Enjoy the moon that we're having on, I think it's Friday. Yeah, the Cancer moon. So that's going to have you looking at your home stuff and stuff with your body and stuff with yourself. And if you get a little emotional, that's okay too, because Cancer is my sign and we are overly sensitive. I will admit it. I'm always overly sensitive about stuff. I have a friend who's a Sagittarius and they're not that way at all. And he's always saying to me, you're just so sensitive. And I'm like, oh. And I'm a healer too, so add that to the mix. Healer, intuitive, sensitive. Crying about everything all the time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today. It was really great to connect with all of you, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. And stay in touch with me. I am starting to do in-person sessions again on Wednesdays. Everything else is distance. And Reiki classes in person will be starting up again. I'm going to send out a newsletter soon, hopefully soon. But it was great to see all of you. Catch the replay if you jumped in later, and you can also catch past episodes too. You might find that those resonate with you as well. All right, so hang in there, guys. Make the most of this energy that we're in. Have a sacred fire. Get creative. Start thinking about how you want your life to go, and start thinking the thoughts that are going to help create that reality for you. All right? See you soon. Bye, everyone.